Greetings, freedom lovers. How are we today? Sorry, we're a couple of minutes late. You'll have to forgive me. We've had a couple of little technical issues here. I even had to remove screaming children who have decided they are now the stars of the show. But it's okay. These are the things you get when you do these things from home, you know. As you can see, some new artwork has been added. Compliments of Little Rain. You know, he's a budding artist. What we can't get in the way. Bashing away at the keyboard here, not getting any sounds because it's not currently functioning. It needs to be set up to do that. But anyway, long story short, we're here. We made it. It's all good. And of course, it's Friday night and this thing's dripping all over the place. You know what that means? It's time for a drink. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a whole week being weakened leading into the weekend. You've heard this rant before, so let's have a drink and hopefully we won't feel so weekend. So we got an interesting show for you today. We've got some of my favorite Townsvillians here, people I would never have met if it wasn't for our wonderful government and all the beautiful gifts they've given us over the last 5 years. But thanks to their tyrannical desires to impose such horrible things upon us, I've met some amazing human beings that I probably would never have met if it wasn't for their evil influence. And this is a time where you got to give blessing to the absolute assholes that they are, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I wouldn't be talking to any of yous. So apple juice turned him, says Harps. Rightio. So we're getting into the ciders, I guess. There's a few comments. I have to say it was really inspiring to see people commenting half an hour before the podcast even started. It's good to see that people are, sitting there waiting with bated breath to get in there. Bated breasts. There's an interesting idea. I thought that was kind of the bait in the first place, in a sense. But anyway, let's not get there. Let's not go there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's time to start bringing in a couple of our guests. Jeanie is on her way. She'll be here. But we've got Peter. G'day, mate. How are you?
Hey, how you going, mate?
Good, mate. Good. And we've got Ron, who's still having some issues with the... we're wiggling the shit out of this one. Blackboard would be proud.
It works for a little while. Hi, Mark.
Yeah. How you, man? In your actual mobile phone setting, if you pull it down, you may find there's an auto orient switch that you can hit that may stop that from happening. I'm not 100% sure if it'll work because I'm not familiar with your device, but sometimes I find there's an auto orient thing in there that can mess things up. So yes, the trials and tribulations, the fun we have setting up podcast things don't always work. We're all just doing things from our home. We're just normal human beings doing our normal human things, whether upside down, right way around. It doesn't matter. We get there in the end. The message is important. If you weren't already grey, I'd say is turning him grey. So, gentlemen, I think perhaps a good place to start for our audience who don't know you guys. Maybe we'll start with Peter. Give a bit of a rundown of who you are and what you've been doing here in Townsville, so they know who you are and what you are. So, I mean, you've had a bit of a run at politics a couple of times and whatnot. Let's sort of start there, maybe.
Yeah, let's just say it's probably been a long journey. I mean, I started back in the mid-'80s with all this stuff that's been going on with government. I was aware way back then as to what was happening then. We knew that it was going to end up well, hang on, I'll rephrase that. I didn't know it was going to end up as bad as this, but we knew that the direction was headed that way with all the corruption and that sort of stuff through governments. We could see it back there. When I was living in Cairns, we had a group of people up there that would always get together every second weekend and talk about politics and, in general, the way that the world was headed. And unfortunately, it's just getting worse and worse, and we can obviously see which way it's going now. Quite a few of us have been involved in travels, I suppose, down to Canberra and all that sort of thing. But I mean, I think we've got to start to do a little bit more than just barking at closed doors. We've got to start to make this happen.
Yep, definitely. So you've tried your hand with Pauline Hanson's One Nation, and and you've also run it independently as a candidate here in Townsville. Unfortunately, unsuccessfully, but it's good that you've stepped up to the plate, put your money where your mouth is, literally where your money is, your mouth is, because it's obviously these things cost a bit of coin, and I've done what I can to help out wherever we can, but we've obviously got to get a few more people behind these sorts of things. Give us a quick rundown of your experiences with the political structure in that regard.
Well, there's only one word I can actually say, and I think most people will agree that it's just totally corrupt. After what we've seen, the federal elections that I ran in as an independent, we had numerous amounts of support. I think there was something like 57 people we had supporting my campaign and running around doing whatever we could do. But there were a couple of us that walked into the voting station at Greenwood. We walked outside, and here's the guys from Greenwood loading all the voting material, the boxes, in the back of private vehicles. And immediately we thought, oh, this is just not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But I won't mention any other names, but we've actually got that on video. The thing is it's corrupt. That's all there is to it. So, I mean, the one that I ran in 2016 in Cairns with One Nation, it's also, they're puppets in the game as well. So, I mean, they're aware of what's going on. Most politicians are aware of what's going on, and they're just following the agenda, the money trail. So I don't know what else to put on that, but that's basically what it is. It's just total corruption. And if people don't start to stand up and do something about it, they're going to be living in a jail type cell themselves. So they'll be slaves for life. So, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I can't help but feel we're kind of already in a system of slavery as it is. I feel like
Yep.
our home is a prison and we get the privilege of paying for it, and not just
Right.
paying for it, but paying for it 3 or 4 times so that the banks can make a shitload of profits. In the meantime, the banks can get their bloody, the government can get all their taxes on the side. So, yeah, it's hard. And then you go, like you said, you see ballot boxes being loaded into a private vehicle to go where? Where's the security? Where's the election integrity in that? So yeah, it's hard to have faith in a system like this. Ron,
Yep. Sorry.
I was going to say, Ron, you want to give us a bit of a rundown of who you are and what you've been doing for the last 5 years? You've been pretty active there in the learning circle of things.
Yeah, it took me a fair while to wake up to what was actually going on. It wasn't actually until COVID that I realised there were some issues with the government. So basically, I was living in a bubble, you might say, unaware of all the issues that were going on. And I think that once you become aware of what the government were doing to us with their safe and effective jabs, it was all downhill after that. So the more you looked, the more you could see what was going on. So at that stage, that's when I started joining some like-minded groups in Townsville, and Peter ran some very good meetings. We used to sort of catch up every week in a park or wherever we could. There used to be probably 20 to 30 people at a time, and we'd go through all the issues that were affecting us. And from there, it's just progressed over the years. I've been heavily involved in Know Your Rights, and I've been to a Gold Coast, to a boot camp there, and I attended the one also in Townsville, which was very successful. So what I'm finding out now is a lot more people are becoming more involved in the Commonwealth Constitution and understanding how it operates. We've had the other thing that Peter was involved with was our common law group, which I used to regularly attend as well. So the more of these meetings that you get to, the more you understand what is going on around the place. And it's not just in Townsville. As you probably are aware, it's all over the world, all through Europe. It's the same theme everywhere. They're just trying to lock everyone down. They want to stop everyone having a freedom of expression. And I think that what I find here, I've met some great people like yourself and Peter here in Townsville that like-minded and understand the issues. And so it's just a pleasure to catch up with these people and have a discussion. The other thing is, I think as we become more aware of the what they're doing to us, we know that we can actually push back, but you don't know it unless you actually do a bit of study. And so it's important that everybody takes the time and reads and understands the laws and the legal system and the difference between the two. I don't expect everyone to want to go to court and argue their case, but there are ways of pushing back against these corporate governments. And I think that everyone should take the opportunity to push back wherever they can. It doesn't matter whether it's council rates or fines of any sort. Push back, ask questions every time, because it's just such a corrupt place it is, and we need to push back. We need to research what's going on.
Definitely. Well, Jeanie's just able to make it here now. G'day, Jeanie, another amazing
Hello.
freedom fighter. I've met compliments of our tyrannical government. How you going, Jeanie?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. I've arrived into your room.
Nice. So we were just going through and sort of giving everybody a bit of a background on who everybody is and how they fit into the scene here. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown of, where you've come from and what you've been doing for the past 5 years?
Okay. So I was a registered nurse when all the COVID started, and I've since lost my job with that. But that was probably 2019. I wouldn't take the mandatory flu vaccine through aged care that I was working in. So I got the sack from that job, and then I went into community care. And from there, I lost my job because I wouldn't do the QR code into work. So I refused to scan in with the code, and they sacked me basically for failing to follow facility procedures. That was what my union wouldn't even stand by me for that. I said, I'm a permanent part-time. I'm in the building all the time. I refuse to swipe that card. And then I went into sole trader in the community, and then they brought in the green slip for the vaccine, which I wouldn't have. So I lost that one. So I had like 3 jobs that I lost over about 3 years or 2 years. And before that, I probably did know the government was corrupt, but of course I didn't know that it was as evil as it is. I always thought it was basically all just to do with money, people doing favors for each other, and big companies and big pharma and everyone just kind of doing those little favors. But I didn't realize it went as deep as it went. So I actually didn't know a whole lot until COVID, and I went down that rabbit hole then. And it was very daunting and very, very overwhelming at times to realize that everything you thought, like the old saying goes, everything you thought was true is a lie, and everything is inverted. You know, it just is such a crazy world that it's still not now. But at that stage, I kept thinking it can't be true. It can't be that evil, but I do believe, and I know it all, that it is now. So, yeah, that's where I then met our people that we've got here on the screen, Peter and Ron and yourself, just through our freedom kind of activities. I went down the rock pool one day, and they had a little walk. There was 10 people with signs walking down the strand from the rock pool and back again. And we did that every week for maybe about a month, 2 months or something. Went from 5 people to 10 people to maybe 20 people. And that was when we started what we called the waking group. So we were the Townsville waking group, but we were initially the Townsville walking group. But we thought, no, we'll change it to the waking group. And then from there, like Ron was saying, I learned a whole lot through Peter with the common law groups as well. We do miss those meetings. They were good, like Ron was saying. They were good numbers that used to come. And then my place came into the picture. So that was where Peter, I was about to step back because we'd done a lot of rallies down the Strand. Every time there was a national rally, we did it down the Strand, and we went from 50 people to what was our largest peak, 2,500 or something at our peak, which was really, really good. But then
I think it might have even been more. I'd have to go because I remember there was that one day, you know, I'm just past Strand Park where it's sort of there's that big sort of hill.
The amphitheatre.
Past the amphitheatre, like because there's Strand Park in the middle there, and then just past that there's a big mound. I remember standing up the top of that with the camera pointing down, and this sea of people.
We did.
And like what we seen last week was huge, but I don't think it was quite as big as that. And I think the pivot point there was for everybody standing up against, hang on, they're going for the schools now. You know, and that's when everybody started really going nuts. It's like, all right, coming for the adults was one thing, but going at the schools, it's like now they're getting too close to the kids. That's when everybody really rose up in Townsville, and it was impressive to see. Unfortunately, it was sort of a one show only sort of deal, and the numbers just continued to slide down because obviously people are turning up looking for the golden answer, the goose that lays the golden egg. They just wanted the ultimate solution. But you know, I think the sad truth is a lot of people need to realize is that we're all just people and nobody has the ultimate answer. The answer, I think, is us coming together in unity and working together is the ultimate solution.
Exactly.
That's going to be the big challenge, I think. You know,
I think Mark as well. It seemed to change all around Australia after Canberra. We all did the big trip to Epic and that, and went down there with big dreams and you know, high expectations, and it was very deflating and disheartening when we come back. And I think it seemed to spread all around Australia because most of the rallies stopped after that, or the numbers went down so low that they stopped them. And that was when I wasn't going to do much more. And then Pete told me about the my place, and that was where we got back into doing things again.
How silly can
what was my place? 2023 end of?
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
something like
Yep.
that. Yeah, so we've
Yep.
had a full year and now into our second year, and I've been away on holidays and come back again, and yeah, still.
Well, I mean, my
So
place
we've done a
has
whole
gone.
lot of things.
My
What was
place has
that?
gone. Oh, my place has gone rampant right throughout Australia, and I mean, there's so much of a following with my place, but at the moment, as everyone knows, the media are just pulling us apart because of it. Yeah, it's what's the like trial by media, basically, and you know what they've
Well,
done to
they're
us.
the what would we call it? The it's like the witch hunt. You know, they're the media have become like the town crier for the pitchfork and the burning torches crowd. You know.
Yep.
And they
Unfortunately,
call my place is the right wing extremist group, isn't that what Townsville Bulletin everyone tries to paint us as? Which has been a little bit hard in Townsville because they've turned a lot of people against us because that's they did a witch hunt on us because of Troy and different other things. And
well, I'd like to say good day to Troy. Is actually here. He did say hello.
Good. Hi, Troy.
So Troy, our man, we'd like to see mayor again because it's who we bloody well voted for. Come back. Thanks for tuning in. So much appreciated, my friend. And obviously that's why. Probably one of the main reasons they wanted to witch hunt Troy so badly was because he had the audacity to listen to ratepayers such as us. What a horrible thing to do. Like, could you imagine somebody actually representing us? Whoa. What a horrible thing to do. Evil man. Quick,
and asking questions. And asking questions. Like something like show us the books. That sort of stuff. And I mean, as we all know, I mean, these guys have got zero transparency. So what are they hiding? So
I think the only thing they know about transparency is the ability to pronounce the word. For when you look at the Townsville City Council without Troy, they use the word quite often, but I don't believe they've ever looked up the definition because their definition of it is certainly not the dictionary definition that I've come to see.
No, it's always their play with words anyway.
Troy is still fighting and will continue to do so, and he's got our support, that's for sure. Was it I think it was a how silly can you get had a comment there that seemed applicable at the time, but I've lost it. There's so many comments coming in here. I'm actually having trouble dealing with it. All right, doesn't matter. Lost that train of thought. So anyway, now everybody knows everybody, because I'm not sure exactly who's seen what. And I think there's a lot of newcomers coming to the podcast now, which is great, particularly after a very successful rally on the last weekend, which I think was really good to see Townsville firing up again. And, one of the interesting things I thought, I asked Shane Knuth from the Catter Party, are you concerned that you've been standing there next to, people who are clearly, for the four people that were focused on by the Townsville Bulletin, the guys dressed in black, are you concerned that you're going to be painted as, a racist or a Nazi or whatever, and his answer was fundamentally, everybody's got their own reasons for being here, which I thought, is a dance around the question, but it's a very valid point nonetheless. And, regardless of where you're coming from in our society, and, I want to focus here on Townsville today, all our fellow Townsvillians in particular, but this is broad to everyone. We're all here for whatever reason. We all woke up at different times. We're all seeing this from our own unique perspective, but we're all humans existing on this planet at the same time, and all we want is a fair go and a chance to live our lives. I don't think that's too much to ask, but our government doesn't seem to, share our belief. They seem to think that, we're the doormat for which they should wipe their feet upon every day, and our only purpose is to be that doormat, we need to sort of come together, obviously, and we're here doing that today. Perhaps we could go around and look at some of the things that we've been doing here in Townsville and what is available to the broader community who can hopefully reach out and start getting involved. Who would like to take the lead?
Well, yeah, I'd like to say something.
Go for it.
Sorry, Ron.
That's
I'd just
right.
like to say that last weekend, something that I actually noticed was the difference in the amount of people that were there. Yeah, there was some familiar faces, but there were a lot of new faces. A lot of people, excuse my French, are extremely pissed off. A lot of people starting to wake up, that sort of stuff. A lot of new people there. A lot of people that I'd never ever seen there before at marches, and we've been to a lot of them, Jeanie, hadn't we? And
Certainly have.
yeah, and I just seen and spoke to a lot of people as well that had not been there before. A lot of people have really had it right up to their eyeballs. They've had enough.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say as well is that apparently Cairns had 5,000 to 6,000 people at their rally last weekend.
Right.
Wow.
So it's about bloody
Wow.
time that Townsville started to get their ass into gear and do something about it. So,
I noticed at the rally as well. There were the new people, like you said, but there was also a lot of our older ones come back as well, which was nice to see some of them, because we've met and kind of associated with so many people through that 5 years that we've been going. So you meet some, and then they kind of either go off in different directions, or they have different lifestyle things that pulls them away, but and then more come in and come out again. But yeah, I actually bumped into quite a few people there on the weekend, and it was good to see them. And everyone has their own little journey that they're going, and the things that they're doing. But yeah, I think people now, the ones that were the new people, it's more tangible to them now. It's actually affecting them, when it affects, like the vaccine was basically a personal choice, and the propaganda and everything, it was difficult for people to, make that choice. But where now it's affecting every Australian just about, the things that the government is doing. So those everyday people are actually seeing what we might have been saying a little while ago about the possibility of our government being so corrupt is really true. And they can see the picture on the wall, really. And if they just look overseas and they look at England or anywhere like that, that could come here if we don't do something about it.
Getting close.
I think it is here. I mean, that's the thing, because everything that's happening here in Australia is also coincidentally happening in every other Western nation as well. America's fighting the same problems. England's fighting the same problems. New Zealand's fighting the same problems. Most of Europe's fighting the same problems. I don't know if you're aware, but actually there was a whole bunch of candidates for the alternative party in Germany have just happened to die of natural causes, with one potential suicide in there in the last couple of weeks. Very interesting. The election's coming up.
Yeah, it's unreal, isn't it? Yep.
So clearly what we're doing is very effective, and it's very threatening, and these people are desperate to maintain control. So I mean, obviously we don't want to be afraid, because fear is the mind killer. I read Dune. I've seen the movie as well. There's a quick way out for those who don't want to read the book. But the moral of the story: fear is the mind killer. And if you rise above that fear, it's amazing what you can do. So, Ron, you've managed to get your camera around the right way. Well done, buddy. You want to climb in?
Yeah. I was going to mention Stand in the Park. I'm not sure if your viewers or listeners know about it, but every week we get together in Strand Park at the Western End. It's something that was started by a guy in Sydney back in about 2021, when they had all the lockdowns were going on, and it was just a venue where people could get together and talk about the issues at hand. So we've been doing it in Townsville now for a few years. I think Jeanie might have started that off, but we have a small group of people that get there every weekend. We've got a flag there, and we talk about all the main issues that affect us, like council rates or traffic fines or fresh food sourcing, a whole range of things that are of interest to us. It normally goes from 10 o'clock till 12 o'clock. We try and keep it as light as possible, because they want us to live in fear, and we need to be above them. So it's a good group of people, and if people have got issues with whether it's parking fines or whatever, we're there to help them and point them in the right direction. And I think people appreciate that. So if anybody's interested, come on down and and meet up with us and see what you think.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So that's 10 o'clock on a Sunday down at Strand Park, correct?
Yeah, down the western end of Strand Park. So we just got a table there, and we normally have a bit of morning tea and a bit of a chat about all the issues at hand. And there's a lot, as you know.
I just like to point out, it's because of that stand in the park is exactly how I first met everyone here and got involved with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I remember having a bit of a gripe on to somebody on Facebook. They're like, you know, I'm like, where do I go? What do I do? I don't know. I don't know anyone in Townsville. You know, I've been very secluded. I come here to just kick back and not give a shit. You know, it was beginning early stage retirement plan, and then all this shit happened, and somebody said, "Hey, I found this online, man. Check this out." Oh, right. I stand in the park in Townsville. Cool. I couldn't find anything happening in Townsville. It was amazing how hard it was to find simple answers to simple questions regarding these things. But thank you to the community abroad for pointing that out to me. That's where I first met Jeanie, and wow, boy, did she was so animated at the time. And you know, we're talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, Darren Dixon, great bloke. I watch all his work." "Oh, really? Oh, he's a friend of mine. I've known him for 20 years, you know." "Really? Wow." And we just hit it off, and here we are today.
Yeah. No, it was actually it was Janine and Barbara at Pioneer Park when we first started having our meetings for common law. And then we thought, well, okay, well, bugger this. We've got to start to do more about it. And that's what it's all about. It's just about getting people together. I mean, we don't need to be, it's not an aggressive type of a situation. It's basically about sharing knowledge. And that's all it is.
That's right.
They want to be able to paint us as aggressive right-wing extremist people. But the thing is it's all wrong. We're there to help people. We're not there to hinder anyone at all. We're there to share information, and like we have done in the past, whether it be with my place or whether it to be with the Waking Group or anything that we ever done, Jeanie, where we had like the stand in the park where we exchanged different things, whether it be
Our barbecues.
it was non-aggressive, but as Mark and Ron are aware as well, is that they've painted the picture of us being a right-wing extremist group, which is a whole load of BS. All we're there to do is to help people and to talk to people to be able to get them to move forward without any stress, and to give them that little bit of knowledge of understanding, because so many people don't have that knowledge of understanding. And like to sit down there with Ron and with everyone like that there. I mean, I've dropped in a couple of times there, and they're just having a little bit of a chat. And if you want to understand things, all you got to do is ask the question. No one's there to attack you. No, everyone is there to help, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
I know, and that's a good point, that everyone is at their different stage, and not everybody is at the same stage ready to move on to the next step. So, you know, there is no condemnation or no fingers pointing. It's a welcoming kind of organisation or group kind of thing, just to get people together. Because with the COVID and, you know, all the lockdowns and everything else, I'm sure everybody here, plus everybody that's watching, will have felt isolated at some stage and, you know, lost family contacts, not necessarily deaths as in loss, but family that have pulled away from you because of, you know, your views and everything. So people were very isolated, and these groups have made another family. for a lot of people, and people have said that to me. You know, they've been the savior, and they may not come all the time, but they know they're there, and they know where they can ring if they need support, and whether it just be social, go out for a cuppa or chat on the phone. So they have so many multiple purposes, from the education, like Ron's saying, and yourself, to the social and the emotional support as well, and the connection and networking and things like that. So yeah,
I think, you know, if there's one big takeaway from everything that we've all been doing, you know, whether it's the podcast, rallies, meetings, whatever, I think we've saved a lot of lives myself. You know, like, I remember being there at the very early stages and seeing people absolutely break down at the sudden realization that, holy shit, my government's, you know, raping my rights here. You know, like, it's one of those words that is akin to what was going on there. That people felt completely violated, and they had nowhere to go, and they felt so alone, to the extent that I think a lot of people quite possibly may have taken their lives had they not had this support network. And I think it's disgusting and irreparable, you know, damage that the media attempts to try to place upon us, you know, when considering all we've done is help people through really dark fucking times, you know. And the mainstream media really should hang their heads in shame and really feel very sick to their stomachs to, you know, attack people who have saved lives, quite literally, with what we're doing, you know. Even from this podcast point of view, not just this podcast, but so many other podcasts. So I've tuned into other podcasts where guests have come on and said, you guys are the only thing that keeps me going. Just tuning into this once a week and listening to other like-minded people helps me not feel alone. You know, it's such an important thing, you know. And we can see now with what Elbow is trying to push with controlling the internet. Wow, that is attempted murder as far as I'm concerned. By cutting this lifeline away from people, I would consider his actions attempted murder.
There's just one other thing. Sorry, Jeanie. Yeah,
you're right.
Just one other thing I'd like to say, and I mean, and everyone here can probably understand this. I just want to thank Mark for his dedication to supporting all these groups, because pretty well without you, Mark, we would have been buggered. You know,
you didn't have a voice, did we?
No, you've been there, mate, to support us with every single thing. You're not only supporting us, you're supporting yourself and your own family as well. So, I mean, that's a great thing, of what you've set up and what you're actually doing. I just take my hat off to you, because you've been there whenever we've needed you, whether it be walking down the Strand or doing other things. You're aware of other things that we've all done. So I just thank you for being there. So I just wanted to say that.
Yep.
My pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Yep. Definitely.
I was going to say, just before, you know how you were saying we're a non-aggressive group and we're only ever been there for each other and trying to share the information. Four Corners show the other night tried their darndest to paint us, you know, well, the sovereign citizens or the freedom movement in itself as aggressive, but they had to dig really deep to try and find anything aggressive, didn't they? They had to go back like 10 years or something and then go overseas.
I actually haven't watched
anything local or in Australia.
So, Jeanie, we shouldn't be watching ABC, you know that.
No, but I had to go in for curiosity. I wanted to hear what they had to say.
I agree. I was curious, but I thought if I was going to do it, I should do it as a podcast, like watch it and then run commentary. And I just haven't got around to doing that just yet. I feel like it's kind of like, oh, is it outdated? I don't know. Audience, tell me, is it outdated for me to still do that? I still haven't watched it. I'm still a virgin to that ABC attempt at a documentary. All I know about it is it's run by a former bikie, and the ABC are happy to support bikies. But you know, people get dates wrong. Quick, crucify.
I mean, the irony of it all is, who are the sovereign citizens? That's the question I ask. So, I mean, you know, you got the media, they're accusing people of being sovereign citizens, and you got the police, they're accusing people of being sovereign citizens. So,
Darren put it in a very good light, and I think like, especially when you're being confronted by somebody who's pushing that attempted insult, and all you have to do is say, well, did you vote? And as soon as they say yes, which they will, because to not vote is illegal and they can't admit to that, so it puts them in a box. They have to say yes, or they admit that they've done the wrong thing. Oh, so you're a criminal, if they say no. Or if they say yes, well, you were a sovereign citizen on that date. You exercised your sovereignty, because we as a people become sovereign when we vote. It's written right there in the Constitution.
Constitution,
we the people is where the power derives from. That makes us sovereign. And are you a citizen of this country? Okay, so you're a citizen. You voted, and you exercise sovereignty. You must be a sovereign citizen. Prove me wrong.
Interesting. Interesting, isn't it? Interesting stuff.
Yeah. It's an oxymoron, like they say, isn't it?
Certainly,
fundamentally, yes. Yep. But the act of voting, so when we vote and exercise that sovereignty, it's when you become a sovereign citizen.
But sovereignty and sovereign citizen so different, aren't they? It's using the beginning of the word, but it's not the two put together.
Well, it's created by media. Media were the ones that created it. Like, I mean, I've been accused of being a sovereign citizen. I won't tell you where and when, but I mean, you guys know what happened. But the thing is that, that was the first thing they said to me. And I'm like, well, like, I'm not the moron. You guys are the moron. They didn't like that at all. And I mean, you're branding me with something that you guys don't even know what it is. Yeah. So, I mean,
regurgitation of a mindless narrative without a comprehension of what they're saying. It's astounding.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It's exactly right. Yeah, that's right. Interesting days. Yeah.
Some of the other things that we've done too, we kind of learned a whole lot about gardening. People don't like to go into that area because it seems so far left or right. But
that's fine if it's not for you. Look at
while we're going. So some people have pushed away from Woolies and Coles, and have found those independent stores. We've pushed and promoted keeping cash alive, and those type of initiatives we've worked hard on as well. And so they're little things, but all the little things add up to you being able to make those decisions on your own, and just on herbs and alternative health and your different medical, instead of going through the medical field, you can go through the alternative health fields as well. So there's a whole lot of different channels that, the options are out there. And we've got them in our community as well. We've got like the energy group that has a lot of, they work with the different type spirits and crystals and massage and all the alternatives. We find out who are maybe some of our better doctors in town. So you can ask questions and say, who's the best one to go for this? Who would you go to for, lots of questions like that people might share on the site, and just say, who's awake out there, and support those people in the community. What are your good organic stores that are around, and support those ones as well. So it's finding what's out there.
Oh, definitely. And, we've had such an amazing effect. We've got the Townsville Cooker Watch who just can't stop watching everything we do, which is really, really entertaining. It's one of my more entertaining sites. When I want a good laugh, you go and look at Townsville Cooker Watch, which has a following of 124 members. I must say there's a hell of a lot more than that watching us live right now. So congratulations to your 124 members. It's really, really a great achievement, But look, all jokes aside, we've certainly pissed a lot of people off. And that's got to say something, I mean, I think, things may not be exactly the way we want them to be. Things aren't, there's no golden solution. There's no golden ticket, but they weren't so pissed off.
We wouldn't be a threat if they weren't pissed off, would they?
So Jeanie, I thought you'd mentioned fluoride and the work you've done behind the scenes there.
Yeah, we haven't got onto that subject yet.
Oh, that's enough.
Well, that's
I'm
been one of
So
my
you had,
babies.
you had a
disappointed.
fluoride meeting a little while back there, Jeanie. You were the brainchild of getting that all together. You know, there was a few hiccups with venues and things like that, but you know,
Oh, for our rally, yes, yeah.
at the end of
The
the
Cooker
day,
Group can actually take a bit of credit for that one. They actually tried to, or they did, got us kicked out of one centre until we found the second one because they called us a right-wing extremist group and kind of sent all the letters
intimidated and
into
scared
the
the shit out of a
venue.
venue. I mean, can you imagine that? Like their pride in being an intimidating force and scaring a venue. Wow, what a great bunch of people.
They tried it on the second group and they didn't get away with it. They sent emails and letters and phone calls and everything to the centre. They even went to head management and they ignored them. They said, if we are paying the money for the venue, it is our venue. We don't want them there. They'll get their security and get them out. So they didn't win the second time round.
Nice.
Yeah.
So suck
that
eggs,
was our fluoride
Cooker.
forum.
Yeah.
We've been going with the fluoride for how long? 2023 or something like that. I think we might have started out a bit of a campaign sending letters into the council. So we've made a nuisance of ourselves in the council with multiple letters. I think initially it was just when the USA court case came. Oh, no, it's a little bit before that, actually, but it was in the pipeworks. You know how it went for 7 years. So it was waiting for the next court case. But we sent the letters of inquiry to the council and actually asked them to show us or send us any documents that they've got that prove the safety of fluoride. You know, what studies and reports have they got to, what do they base their decisions on whether it's safe or not. And of course they come back with the generic of we support whatever QH, you know, Queensland Health says,
Queensland Health,
which is then guided by the National Medical Health Research Council guidelines. Yeah. And then if you consider that, you know, they've done no studies since before 2000 and they disregard anything else that's gone through, you know, all the other studies over the rest of the world and the USA court case, but they're still sticking to their guns that's where they get their guidelines from. So, yeah, from there we went through the official complaints process. And again, that got kind of ignored basically, and all the same generic type letter coming back. And then we've done some rights to information requests. So we did a rights to information request to ask for the certificate of analysis to try and find out what type of fluoride they're actually putting in our water first, because we couldn't find that out exactly anywhere because the council website. Yeah, the Townsville website just basically says that fluoride is a naturally occurring compound and we top it up to the level of 0.7 as per the National Medical Health Research Council's guidelines, but they don't say what they top it up with. So from that one, we did
potential manipulation of wording in that regard, because although there is a natural occurring fluoride in some of the rock formations of the Townsville Dam and the river, Burdekin River and whatnot, what they top it up with could be anything. You know, and when you brandished multiple elements into the subject group fluoride, what's what, you know?
We did find out it was sodium fluoride. They couldn't get out of it on their own documents through the rights to information request. It came back as sodium fluoride, which when you go through the material safety data sheet, it's an S6 poison. So that's what they're adding to the water, but they don't tell anybody that, do they? They don't put it on their website. They don't inform people that there's a potential risk to their children or anything like that. So, and that's where we then, what do we do after that?
We sent 3 letters earlier this year. Have you spoken about those 3 letters?
Yes, we can do that one.
And we've sent letters to the Human Rights Commission in Brisbane, and they've just ignored them totally.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's very frustrating.
And we did it
But
right.
Not at
to
all
information.
surprising. I mean, I myself wrote letters, which has been documented here on the North Queensland Freedom Network, outlining that, well, here's the legislation, and are you following the legislation? Can you please provide me the National Measurement Institute number of the device you use to measure fluoride?
Mm.
That is the law. Can you provide that information? Generic bullshit answer, which was good because within that generic bullshit answer, I'm guessing they didn't expect us to go through and read it, but we did. And discovered that, you know, what it seems to be implying, which they would neither confirm nor deny, there was blank answer to the next question, because on top of the, can you provide the National Measurement Institute number, was the, well, it seems to me, based on the paperwork you've sent, that you've actually got an international body dealing with this, and you've acquired a measurement device from outside this country, contrary to the National Measurement Institute Act, or the National Measurement Institution. So, what are you going off? Are you using Australian law, or are you getting this from a foreign company? What's going on?
Yep.
No
That's
answer to
interesting.
any of it.
I honestly
So if
think
any,
they're hiding. They're hiding behind everything.
well,
Yeah,
they try
yeah.
to baffle you with bullshit. That's one of the
Yep.
things I've noticed with governments and big things. They just baffle you with bullshit. They throw so much at you that they hope you'll go away. Here's a 10,000 page document. Go for it. But if you let the Force guide you, you don't have to read 10,000 pages. You just flick through and go, ah, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing how easy it is to do when you let go and let the Force guide you.
It's like the Townsville City Council local government, as Ron and Jeanie and yourself, we all know that they're no such thing. They're not a local government at all. Yeah, the thing is they're hiding behind all this sort of stuff. Yeah, they're the ones that have given themselves that local government tag, I suppose you could say. You know, federal government, state government, local government. There's no such thing.
Although we had a referendum to state we don't want a local government, they go and create a local government act anyway.
They've done it anyway. And I think the only way to do this is to be able to go direct to the counsellors and go, this is forced medication, bang, hit them directly themselves personally. It's the only way to do it.
Constant pressure. And obviously there was enough constant pressure for them to go, we're getting too many emails. I can't deal with it. Oh, the pressure, all the money I'm getting, and I've got to work. Oh, no. So what do they do? Can we write in some laws so we can ignore the people, please?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
You know,
But
so
another interesting thing,
these things work.
Yeah. Another interesting thing that happened through the council, interesting if you call it interesting, was we got another rights to information request because we thought we've looked at the health component of it. We want to look at the costing side of it. So we asked for the costing for the last 5 years of maintenance, operational, plus the purchase of the fluoride, and we got back a partly complete documents, and they said some of them that they couldn't release all of them because they may be contrary to public interest. So even though it is the
public's asking, I would seem to think that's
money is spending it on there.
Here's the public asking. We're obviously interested.
But
straightforward stuff.
Yeah, that's right. It's our money, isn't it?
Sorry, public, you're asking a question that's contrary to your interests.
Yeah.
What? How do you justify that? This is contrary to the public asking the question, you know. Really
they don't want to know where their money goes to Trilogy or overseas to China or wherever else that it goes. They only told us what they wanted us to know. So they gave us the cost of the fluoride and they gave us some maintenance costs, but they gave us no operational costs. So there was no contracting costs. There was no wages. There wasn't anything like that in there. So we had to estimate it because what's his name? Colin is the Fluoride Free Australia guy. So he had access to a lot of information and he was able to tell me that Gympie was successful not that long ago in actually getting the council to vote 6-3 to take it out of there. But they took it on a financial side, on the cost to the council itself. And I think there's like 2 treatment plants that service 3 towns in that area, and the population of those 3 towns is about 30,000. And we've got 2 treatment plants similar to their 2 treatment plants, but our population may be over 200,000 or something. So that's like 7 times the amount. So in the Gympie Council, they actually declared that they spent $255,000 a year on fluoride. So if you multiply that by 7, you're getting to $1.7 million a year on an average we are spending here in Townsville.
We could buy 2 CEOs for that.
Yep. Yeah, you could. One and a half.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a couple of comments I want to address that, obviously from earlier. 5-year anniversary of Stand in the Park is this Sunday. So it might be a good time to go and hang out.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
Father's Day. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen on Sunday. I'm still making it up as I go along. It's my favorite thing to do. I think to me, the true gift of freedom is to just make it up as you go along and not care that you can just make it up as you go along. Who cares? What's a plan? I don't need it. Another one, sovereign of the earth, citizen forced through the birth certificate, which I think is a very good way of looking at it. It is one person's perspective, but one that I can see quite clearly. We are all of the earth, when you think about it. It depends whether you acknowledge the existence of a higher power or not. The corporeal element, the flesh itself, is of the dirt of the earth. We've all come of the earth in some way, shape, or form. So there's a nice banding together concept that we are all earthlings. Greetings, earthlings. Love it. Love your work there, Kerry. That's them saying they know what's best for us, and that was relating back to the concept of this is not what was the wording you had before? Not in the public's interest. That's right. So it's not in the public's interest, even though the public has asked, and that's literally them saying exactly what Joanna here has said. That's them saying, we know what's best for you. How dare you think outside of the bubble? Get back, slave. But importantly, Troy here, the mayor we voted for that we're not allowed to have, has also chimed in on the water scenario, which is why is it only one of the 2 settlement ponds at the Douglas treatment plant is lined and not the pond closest to the river, allowing seepage into the water. Very Brokovich-like.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a little something we can add to the fluoride scenario, if not various other things, because it's not just fluoride they're adding in. There's also chlorine, which is class 8. I think it was. Is it class 8? Fucking dangerous chemical, good old chlorine. Something you should be very, very careful with is chlorine, especially when mixed with other things. It can become bombs. It can become mustard gas. It can become a lot of things. So you'd like to think that the council is, perhaps thinking about these things when they allow it to seep into God knows bloody what. I'm not allowed to carry it on a truck in certain ways with certain things because it may create these particular issues. I'm not going to get into how to make certain bombs and how to make mustard gas. I've already given one ingredient away. But, at the end of the day, we have these laws in place for me as a worker drone to transport these things safely. But where's the laws in place to prevent this local council from treating things with the same respect?
Well, when we got the certificate of analysis, that's just one of the copies that we got on from the council when we did the rights to information. That's a copy of the pathology results from the soil, from the analysis of the fluoride that we receive. Because when you get fluoride, it's not a food grade fluoride, and it's not a hospital grade fluoride. It is an industrial waste fluoride that we get. So of course in that you get all the byproducts of everything else. So you get lots of trace elements. And in their own document, it has arsenic, barium, cardamom, chromium, copper, lead, mercury, nickel, selenium, thallium, and uranium. all in very small doses, but the cumulative effect. So it's not just fluoride and it's not just chlorine, it's everything else that's in that. Because if they were using purified fluoride, you wouldn't get all these kind of the byproducts of the rest of the production that made the actual fluoride from.
And not to mention, if they were using purified fluoride, that would cost extra.
That's exactly why.
So it's very kind of them to cut the costs and keep those rates down and infect us with other harmful chemicals in the process. It's very considerate. I see why it's not in the public interest. Why would I be interested in my health?
Yeah, some of those are known carcinogenics. There's about 4 or 5 known carcinogenics, and there is no safe level for a carcinogenic, even though it says it goes below the very small, minute amounts that's not going to hurt you. There is no safe level for any of those carcinogenics like lead and mercury, uranium, those type things. And we're getting very small amounts in all of it. And you consider children that have their bottles, formulas made on that water, they're getting sometimes 250 times the amount of different things that they would get if they were breastfed. Because parents aren't informed about it. They don't know that there is a risk to their children, and they don't know that boiling up your water concentrates the fluoride more, and that every bottle they drink is dangerous to them. And up until under 6 months of age, that blood-brain barrier hasn't kind of developed properly either. So whatever they're drinking is going through there as well. But council doesn't put a warning on there to say there's a possibility and maybe buy filtered water or be aware, whereas America actually put that warning out in, and I've forgotten the date, but they made it a national statement to parents not to make your bottled formulas with fluoride water. And yet Australia doesn't. Australia never has said that. Nobody says that. And so all these pregnant women out there, they're not even being informed at all. They don't know that that's risk during the pregnancy as well as after, and that 6 months after, while they're predominantly on bottled formula. So many things. I even said that to one of the counsellors who's still there one day, and he basically said, I don't trust anything that's come from overseas. If you can show me something that's come from Australia, then
that's racist.
I'll read it. Yeah, I know. But I said, so if there is a possibility of even the slightest chance of injuring a child and you don't care about it, and he said, I'll read it when you can get me something from Australia. To prove their point, but there is none.
This is a big. That would just open such a big can of worms if I had been standing there on the simple premise that, hang on, haven't you signed up for all the UN agendas? That's coming from overseas, but you signed on to that. You're happy for UN, New World Order, smart cities and cameras all up our ass and all that sort of stuff. You suck up foreigners all the time with sister city programs. All these things are dealt with international entities, even though you're supposed to be a local government and you're trying your hand at the federal construct. Okay, let's forget the fact that you're out of your jurisdiction. You're going along with this stuff, and then you want to tell me only in the instance of fluoride is Australia only our policy. Hang on, isn't that a bit Trumpian? Only Australia first? Is that what you're telling me? I would have. That's exactly where I would have gone. It was an amazing rant, and I want to pat myself on the back for that. I thought it was wonderful.
I wish you were there.
Yeah. The next time you come across that kind of an idiotic statement, there you go. There's a whole bunch of examples you can run off. So because it's just an amazing contradiction in concepts there. There was a comment I was about to click on, but I missed it because a whole bunch of others popped up. Hang on, where is it? Oh, look, I starred one. This one's been mentioned a couple of times. That's not it. This one. Sorry, guys. I'm taking over for his moment. Fear is the Mind Killer is also a Fear Factory album. Yes, I know that. I love Fear Factory, and I want to acknowledge everybody who's a metalhead that noticed that, because it's not the first time I've seen this comment come up since I mentioned Fear is the Mind Killer. Where do you think they got it from? The book June. Just thought I'd put it out there. That's why I said June and not Fear Factory construct, but I do love Fear Factory. Brilliant band. You know, the idea of "Are you a name or a number" was one of their big sales pitches back in 1992 or 4. One of them, I think it was 2.
Jeez.
Anyway, brilliant concept. Definitely got me thinking about a lot of things as a young bloke. So anyway, there was another one, but I can't figure it out. Ron, you've been working on something that I am unaware of. There's a bunch of letters strung together. I think you might need to inform me, my friend. I'm very curious.
So am I, actually. I'm not sure what I've been working on.
You don't even know what I'm talking about. Jeanie, you wrote it down. I'm going to pull my phone out now. I'm going to get the evidence. What was it? It was a string of letters, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means. Like, hang on, I'm in the wrong app.
Well, if it's on the same vein as fluoridation, that's the only thing I've been delving into with Human Rights Commission. No?
Give me a sec. All these communications, and my eyes are getting a bit blurry. Imagine that Friday Arvo thing's getting blurry. Friday night by now. Time has moved. I was struggling to. Oh yeah, SITP.
Stand in the park.
Stand in the park.
See, this is what happens when you use letters instead of words.
I wonder what I wrote, and I'm starting to worry.
I thought you had some, cunning new strategy to talk about. We've already done the SIT stand in the parks. I speak alphabet gang. That could have been anything,
So anyway, Mark, based on the fact it's the 5th anniversary Sunday, it's great. So everyone should bring along a cake this Sunday. I think to celebrate.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cake. Maybe we should diversify.
Sorry, Mark, but yeah. No.
Everybody should bring their favorite dish. Share, because that's sharing your ideas and sharing a piece of you. What do you think?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Nice.
But
So
I think it would be great to get back to doing lots of things like that again. It would be great to get back to doing our barbecues, to sharing stuff again, to be able to do that again. I mean, there's so many people that are on here that are sitting back and they're doing nothing. They're going, yeah, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should go there. I should do this. I should do that. But sorry, Mark, I sort of took over, but until it affects you, directly, whether it be through something happening in your own life, and then you go, well, hey, shit, hang on, wait a minute, it's affecting me. Maybe I should do something about it now. But why don't you do something about it beforehand? That's all I have to say.
Unfortunately, Peter, everyone's time poor these days, and that's the way the government likes it. They've got both both parents working all day long, and they've got kids to raise, and then all they've got is the weekends. They just don't have the time to be doing the things they need to push back like we'd like them to, because they're just flat out. That's the way it is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is.
Throw in your cowboys and everything else. This is old, by the way. I don't support them anymore.
Hey, look, I won't begrudge anybody, the desire to watch somebody play with their balls in public. That's okay. But, look,
not
at the
once
end of
they
the
made
day,
it cashless in there, I've never been back in. No.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, to me, I gave up on the whole sports thing a long time ago, and as I explained to somebody today, it's just like, well, it's only fun when you're winning, and more often than not, I found teams losing. So I'm miserable most of the time. Why am I choosing to engage in this? Because the outcome of this game only affects me if I allow it to affect me. So if I just go, hey, I don't care about sport anymore, wow, I just released a whole lot of tension and pain and agony and things that don't really matter, because it doesn't affect the outcome of my life. It doesn't help me pay bills. It doesn't free me in any other way. If anything, it sucks my time, it sucks my money, and gives very little in return. That's my view on sport. I mean, if you're playing the sport and you're actively involved in it, okay, cool. no worries. But to sit there at the TV and scream at somebody else because they dropped the ball like you could have done better, good on you. You get out there, off you go. Got all the words to say about, old mate who stuffed up. And it's only, especially when you're in the stadium, the things you hear people say and do, and you're just like, wow, that was possibly one of the biggest intellectual voids. It's like a black hole of intellect intelligence just got sucked away from being near this person. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on the sporting side of things. But where was I going to go? I lost it.
Well,
Did start.
Peter was saying,
cool.
we need to do
Pollies
more.
were going to. Sorry, go, Ron.
No, I'm just saying what Peter was saying. We need to do more. We need to be pushing back a lot more with these groups, unfortunately, and not enough people are doing it.
Well, I mean, for those of you in Townsville who, perhaps are just sitting there going, what can I do? If you're one of those people going, what can we do? What's the answer? Well, step 1, Sunday, stand in the park. Go and meet some people.
Yep.
That's where it started for me.
Yep.
Ask the questions. Getting involved here.
Ask the questions. Doesn't matter whether it's a stupid question or not. Most of the people, 99% of the people down there will give you an answer. It doesn't matter how stupid it is, because obviously you're there for a reason.
Or else we can point you in the right direction.
Exactly.
We may not have the answers, but we know, where to get them. So.
Yeah. So everyone there is going to help. People that come along.
And that's the general idea. Obviously, I've been involved in a lot of things for a very long time, even long before I came to Townsville. I've been aware of a great many things, but I wanted to get away from everything. I came to Townsville, and the world wouldn't let me be. That's the problem, I think in a lot of ways, a lot of people are looking for the escape. Where do I go? How do I get away? Do I go to this country? Do I go to this state? Do I go to this town? It doesn't matter where you go when the agenda is New World Order. They're not talking about which country we're taking over. They're aiming for everything, everyone, everywhere. There is no safe place. The only solution is for us to come together and start working together and go, hell no, we're not playing along. We're not going to go. A handful of people are telling everybody what to do. In simple, the simple terms is the 99% being controlled by the 1%. Why? I mean, if we were to make it a war of attrition, they lose straight away in numbers alone. Very simple, basic things for people to really contemplate, is that there's more of us than there is of them. And it amazes me how many people I come across in my day-to-day activities who are pissed off, and for various reasons. Some a little bit more in depth than others. Some just want to live a little bit more spiritually. Some just want enough money to live. I mean, for me, I find it perplexing that somebody can live and work in the same place, in the same job for decades, and they're happy. That's okay. If they're happy doing that, it's fine. Personally, it's mind-boggling. I couldn't imagine. To me, that's fucking hell. They're doing the same thing every day, going to the same place all the time, seeing the same people. Like, wow, that's maddening. I can't stay in the same place for too long. I'm just too fidgety, I guess, But if they're happy, why fuck with that? They're a contributing member of society. You got so many people out there that are not contributing. Why attack those who are? It's not logical. So many things you come across. Like I've been watching a lot of Redacted, and I know some people here in the audience and on the chat right now watch Redacted. And one of the things I noticed in the podcast they did last, I think it was yesterday by their standards, but today anyway. Let's not get involved in the temporal mechanics of things. The recent podcast is they pointed out, why are we doing what we're doing? It makes no sense. Everything that our governments are doing on a Western society level makes no sense. It is not helping us in any way, shape, or form. Everything they're doing is self-destructive. The only reason I could see that you would continue to do it is complete stubborn ego, and they don't want to let go of what little power they have left. That's my perspective. Anyone else want to chime in?
Well, Mark, the thing is, Mark, they're not actually governments, as you know. They're corporations registered in Washington, D.C. And the trouble is we call them governments and expect them to act like a government, but they never will. They're not interested.
No.
We are just the slaves at the end of the day, and they just want to tax us to the hilt, get as much money out of us, and they just play their own game. So that's why marching and do all the sorts of things that we are trying to do, it has no effect on them. They have their own agenda. They're corporations at the end of the day making money. It's a hard thing to understand, but that's what it is. So
I think the only other thing with the marches is it brings people together. I agree with what you're saying, Ron. I know that. Yeah. And that's, there's a double side to it a little bit there, but I know they don't care. They don't listen to us, do they?
No, definitely not.
But they can when it gets too hard for them. It's the same, and it's exactly the same as what they did with COVID. They made life so uncomfortable where you were sitting and what you were doing that you have to move where we're making you go. It's the cattle prod. We're going to make life so painful that you fucking move. We're going to keep jabbing this bloody cattle prod into your ass until you go in the direction I want you to go. But we can turn around, grab that cattle prod and shove it back at them. Much like, I love my Star Wars analogies, being a Star Wars buff and whatnot, For instance, we look at what happened in, last weekend. I'm going to make this a bit of a big one. But, last weekend, I was anticipating that things were going to go south. In a lot of ways, they kind of did. And I was predicting an Admiral Akbar moment in Return of the Jedi. It's a trap! And you see the Emperor turn around and explain to Luke, I've set this whole thing up. You're all stuffed. There's no way out. Join us or die. Luke's gone, well, if I'm the last man standing, then so be it. He fights to the death, ready to go. But so does the Rebel Alliance. The whole thing was a setup. The Emperor and the Empire had set the whole thing in place to get the last of the rebel band. But what happened at the end of the movie? He lost. He created the product of his own demise. I can't help but feel that that's what they're doing right now. Just like every good move we've made in the past has been turned on its head. Well, now we understand the game. How easy is it for us to do the same thing now that we understand the game? They're setting traps. They're setting moves in place to make us more enslaved. So we take what they give, take their lemons and turn them into lemonade. Just as they've always done to us. Reverse the process. Turn it on its head. I think we can do it. Because there's more of us than there is of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
without dying. Well, honestly, I see this. How silly can you get without dying? If I have to die, so be it.
Without dying,
I'm willing to go that far. Are you? Because as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather die fighting for freedom than live in slavery.
Yeah, most definitely. Yep. I mean, if anything, if anything, we've got to do it for our future generations, and that's the thing. I mean, you got kids, I got kids, and I mean, it doesn't matter. Like we've got to be able to do it for our future generations and for what time we have left as well. And that's the thing.
Have no regrets.
No. Stand our grounds. I mean, talking today to a guy that I speak with on a regular basis, and he said, we've got to just stop complying. Now,
that's it.
Yep. Stop complying. Stop it. Like stop paying your taxes. Stop paying your rates. Stop doing this. Stop doing that. fill the courts up, fill their magistrates' courts up,
That's
or
it.
their statute law courts up, fill them up.
Yep.
How are they going to handle that? So,
Yeah.
but
Now,
to-
I wouldn't go
yeah.
out of my way to say people should disobey the law and
No.
rebel in such a
Mhm.
fashion. But if you felt so inclined, I certainly couldn't stop you.
No, it's exactly
And
right.
it's
And people
important to say we are not encouraging people to do that, but
no.
you should,
Mhm.
resist
Mhm.
peacefully in your own way. And there's lots of ways to
Yep.
think about things. I think the most important thing when resisting is to do it your own way.
Mm.
Because whenever we come out with a template design and say, hey, everybody do it like this, then everybody reacts and does everything in that same way. And the machine goes, awesome. We only have to deal with one solution because we've only
Yep.
got one problem. Now, if a
Mhm.
million people attack the same issue in a million different ways, watch a handful of people, the 1%,
Mm.
lose their shit because 99% of them just threw too much shit at them. They
Yep.
get information overload. Again, reversing the process of baffle them with bullshit. Well, we're going to baffle you with so much real shit. We're
Yeah.
going to smother them in it. So I'm not going to give you an idea of how to do things. Think of your own unique way of doing it. And that will really, really clog the system.
Education is the key. Yeah.
That's it. Find your own
Understanding.
path. Learn.
Understanding exactly what and who you are and what you can actually do, and learning. I mean, there's a certain amount of things that you can say to people, but they have to learn themselves. I was talking to a guy today, and he was having problems with another government organisation to do with children. And as I said to him, you've got to find ways around that. You've got to be able to protect yourself instead of paying, 55% of your wages to this other government organisation. Protect yourself. Defend yourself on it. Yeah, he just doesn't have the information. So I pointed him in the direction. He's gone and had a look at a few different things, because otherwise he's just going to continually work for absolutely nothing. The other alternative, he was going to say, well, I've had enough of this. I resign and go on unemployment. That was the other thing. And a lot of guys actually do that, and this is the situation. Stand up, be counted, understand your rights, and that sort of stuff. Understand our constitution. We do have a constitution. Understand it.
I mean, thinking about that concept there, like you just give up and go on benefits. Well, if that's your path and you've gone, well, I've decided I either continue down the path I'm at or I go on to benefits. Why not go out with a bang?
Yeah.
At least if they fire you, you'll get onto the benefits quicker.
Yeah.
If you quit, it takes you longer to get onto the system.
Yeah.
Have them fire you. Make a scene.
Yeah.
You have to do what you feel good about too.
Smart.
You have to feel what you're going to have no regrets for as well. Later on, you think, I wish I had have maybe listened to such and such, but otherwise you'll feel more committed to doing something if you're following your heart as well. And I know, like when I was in community care and they brought in the QR code, and I said, no, I wasn't going to do it from the beginning. And some of the girls that I worked with said, why don't you pretend to do it? We're all pretending to do it. And I just went, no, that doesn't sit with me. That would feel like it's either fake or letting myself down. If I'm going to say something, you stand by your grounds and you stand by what you believe, and then you don't have those regrets. You may not have all the knowledge, but you'll at least stand up tall and find the answers if you can't, but instead of backing down and then having those regrets that you back down, like when we had the mask mandates and all that, and everyone put their masks on. Most of us didn't put our masks on.
Well, we'll say
and
a lot of people.
That felt good to do that as well, to walk into those stores and have big bouncer at the door and say, hey, you got to wear your mask, and go, no I don't. walk past him,
And
look
yeah.
him in the face and walk
Yeah.
past him,
What
and
do I
his
do?
mouth drops open and goes, "What?" But
Yeah.
that makes you feel more committed,
That's it.
and then you're more confident to try something else
Yeah.
again later.
Yeah.
Instead of
Exempt.
that
Keep
fear.
walking.
Yeah.
Exempt.
And
It's
we got
amazing how
banned from Bunnings for doing it. But anyway, we had 12 months banned from Bunnings for doing a protest in Bunnings in the beginning. There's about
Well,
5 of us, I think,
I
got
didn't
12 months
protest. I just
banned.
walked in and no, exempt. Anytime anyone, no, exempt,
Yeah.
and just keep walking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not
We just went
arguing
to
with
the
you.
next
I'm not
Bunnings.
engaging. You've engaged me. I've given you a one-word response and walked away. Done.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. I was doing the
Because
same thing.
It's then on them to come and chase you, and then they have to engage you. They become the aggressor.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
right.
Even getting
I
on
remember my
flights.
granddaughter saying to me, "Grandma, you got to wear your mask in the shop." And I went, "No, I don't." She said, "Yes, you do. Everyone has to." I said, "No, I haven't worn one yet." I said, "Come in with me and you watch. I don't have to wear a mask." And she's kind of half scared, thinking, "Oh, the big boogeyman or the policeman's going to come and take Grandma away because she's not wearing a mask." Walk straight in. And if you look confident enough and look either through them or past them, they don't even stop. They start to talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just got to
Plus, you got to own it.
to do it.
Yeah.
You've got to own it. I think, because I never had a problem. The amount of place I never wore a mask, or I never complied to anything, and it was because of the way I did it. You know, whereas I come across a lot of people who did have problems because they were either or they'd be exempt. Come on, you want to go? It's the attitude. So no, exempt, and just keep walking. Don't give them a moment. Don't give them an opportunity. Just keep charging. Make them chase you. Yeah. Because hang on, that's a too hard basket now. Because most people are lazy. That's why they took the jab. That's why they put the mask on, because it was easier to do that than to engage. So play the game. Learn the psychology. Simple stuff. I do want to point out, g'day Jake Sawyer again. He did have a comment. Now I started. I'm going to actually go quite a few actually. Yeah, let's go through them. All right, let's deal with some of these starred comments. Pollies could bring humble pie, but I doubt they will. That's referring back to our, bring the cake or whatever item that you would like to for stand in the park. Belinda here. I know we can never go back now that we've awoken. Yes. Now that we've awakened, I prefer awakened, because awoken just bad taste. Sorry to pick on you, Belinda. Now that we've awakened, and I think it's interesting the way society has chosen woke and awake. Because they couldn't be awake, because that would be on our side. They had to come up with a non-sensual one that's kind of the same. Interesting concept. You can delve into the concepts behind that in your own time. What do we do? Okay, so this question, what do we do? Did you hear the slap back? Did you hear the echo? What do we do? It's the sound of my own voice coming back. That emphasizes that real point I'm trying to make into this. What do we do? Look into yourself. What can you do? Stop asking somebody else for an answer. Know yourself. What can you do? What can I do? Not what do we do? Please help me. What can I do? Do I eat the shit sandwich, or do I not eat the shit sandwich?
Education.
Troy's made a good one, as always. The Local Government Act is vague at best. It allows council legal teams to interpret it to suit their interpretation. I was going to go with situation. I was preemptively going with the wrong word. Allowing policies that can be allegedly unlawful, the bureaucracy is attempting to rule the democratic system. I have provided many examples of this. Coercive behavior is rampant in government at all levels. Very good point, where they twist and turn things. And again, this is where you can do it back to them. So see what they're doing, turn it around, and hand it back. That's what I like to call mirror magic. Do unto others as they have done unto you. They tend to not like this because we should always work with do unto others as you would have done unto you. In this case, the council has done unto you as they would have done unto them. So it seems responsible as me, as a citizen, to do to them as they have done unto me, because I followed that principle of do unto others as you would have done unto you. So I'm responding in kind. You know, they have requested that I treat them the way they treat me. Does that make sense?
Very clear.
Thank you. I'm glad it makes sense. I need another drink. I'm making too much sense. Look out. Who would else? Who would like to speak? Come on, give me an idea.
Oh,
What else we got?
let's talk about the 13th. What's coming up on the 13th? What's happening?
Wow. I believe there's some more rallies coming this way. Unfortunately, I will have to state that I have previous engagements. I will not be able to partake myself. It's unfortunate, but you know, I'm not the kind of person who says, "Sorry, I've got a better idea." You know, when I've said I'll be there, I'm going to be there.
It appears that it's
Peter,
all the capital
if you're going to
cities
be there, sorry, Jeanie, go ahead.
It looks like all the capital cities at the moment have committed. That doesn't seem to be many rural ones committed as yet. So it's
so what's this rally for?
This is against government corruption. Rather than anti-immigration or say like the last one, it's government corruption as a broad thing on all the areas that they are doing that hits a nerve with whoever in the different sections. They've got a whole list of the areas that they're looking at. There's probably about 6 or 7 of them. And it's just basically trying to bring all the people together. I think with the rallies last weekend, new people there, maybe they'll jump on and learn a little bit more as well from the people around. But it's being run more so by a lot of the freedom groups. I was saying to Mark before, there's like, it's supported by Stand in the Park. It's supported by My Place Australia. The Millions March Against Mandatory Vaccination. The other freedom one, what did I say it was? Tricky's group, and I've forgotten the name of that one again. And another alliance group, a United Alliance Against Corrupt Governments or something. That's another freedom group. So it's all those ones kind of come together to do it. That's all I feel like it's only through reading the flyers. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it.
I'm feeling like it's a response to what happened with the, March for Australia thing, which seemed to come out of nowhere and didn't, from what I can ascertain, it seems to have been started by some rich kid somewhere along the line, and just got out of hand. Next thing you know, all the egos come in from all the various groups. I'm not going to name names and point fingers and whatnot because I'm just not interested in the he said, she said bullshit. I think that's one of the biggest problems that we're suffering through in an attempt to try and get people to come together is the ego scenario that, my podcast has so many views. Oh, no, but, I had so many people at my rally. Like, can we stop with the pissing contest? It doesn't matter. What's important is we're all marching in the same direction, which is to get us all out of this slavery system. It doesn't matter who got there first. It doesn't matter how we get out of it. The important thing is that we get out of it. And Stu, I would hang up the North Queensland network, never show my face in public again if we can have freedom tomorrow. I don't care about the fame and the fall. I don't care how many people are watching now. I don't care how many people watch tomorrow or the day after. It matters not. That's not why I'm here. And I think what we've seen is an unfortunate pissing contest amongst so many people within some of these activist groups where it's becoming a bit of a rock star syndrome in some ways, I don't care about that. You know, that's just me, and I'd like to think that everybody else could perhaps take that on board. Stop giving. Who gives a shit who's got the most views? Who gives a shit who set it up? Who gives a shit who gets to speak first? I don't care. Like, so long as the message gets across and we achieve the goal, doesn't matter.
Because one of the biggest problems in Canberra was that they were all basically going, well, this guy's talking today, that guy's talking to Gaia. They were all pissing in each other's pockets all the time. And as we've seen, that people just come together in Canberra, except for a lot of political situations where there was a lot of money changed hands down there as well. There was a lot of, I am and I'm going to do this and I'm doing that and so on. But then you had all the other people to the other side, like where we were, right? And Jeanie was there as well. We were the people that were over there. All we wanted to see was all these people come together, action that happened. We didn't want to see, like these other guys, I'm this and I'm that, and all these big names. I'm the one that put this together and I'm the one that done that. Yeah, we just want peace and we want freedom. And that's the main thing. And that's why we were there. It's what it's all about. The whole lot of it. It's why we do what we do. So,
Or try and send us home before it's finished.
Yeah,
Or try
exactly.
and send us home before it's finished. Yeah.
Well, the reason why they done that, why'd they do that? Because they were under threat. They knew we were there. We pissed them off. And that's exactly what it was.
But there were ways of dealing with it. Some people were forcibly removed. Some people weren't forcibly removed. And again, the attitudes is what dictated how you were going to do about how things went down. The choices we make. I do want to just, based on what was just said there, Jake Sawyer's gone, you are a rock star. No, well, I was a wannabe rock star. And I learned during that process, who gives a shit? And I'd like to point you, Jake Sawyer, and anybody else who's interested in it. I kind of had the rock star attitude that was displayed in the movie Airheads. The guy who gets offered a rock and roll contract and pulls his cock out and pisses all over it. Possibly why I didn't get anywhere.
These are the titles that they've got: social media ban bill, the digital ID, the WHO pandemic treaty, protect the farmers, housing and cost of living crisis, reform immigration, zero tolerance for racism. So that's kind of on their flyer as the main topics, along with everything else.
Again, it's playing politics. It's like we don't want to, because there were people who we don't want to get involved in what happened on the weekend because the neo-Nazi element, and I get that. That's okay. But look, neo-Nazis are humans too. Just like our fellow government who wants to enslave us are humans too. And, you're going to want to be peace, love, and happiness. You're going to have to peace, love, and happiness the person you hate the most.
And I think people in the last rally didn't want to be tarred with the brush of being maybe anti-Palestine or pro-Palestine or pro-Israel or whatever. So that deterred some people from going, so that they didn't look like they were, racist, racist kind of focus of the whole rally, where this is not the racist side, so they say.
Well, I'd be curious to see, can they get the same results without the neo-Nazi element? I mean, I don't think any of us really want to be associated with them, but as I said last week, I'm curious. I want to talk to my fellow man in this regard, as far as their neo-Nazi things. There was a whole 4 of them here in Townsville compared to the thousands of others that didn't get the limelight.
We can get a meeting, can't we?
I'd just like to know what it is that motivates them and why they do it. Well, I mean, I don't agree with it. Everybody who watches the North Queensland Freedom Network knows, it's all about peace and everybody coming together, and that, friends with people of all different races and nationalities. And as I stated last week, unless you're 100% Aboriginal blood, I'm sorry to say that immigration is somehow in you.
Right.
Some may argue that even the Indigenous came from somewhere else. That's just another person's point of view, though. It's all perspective at the end of the day. But as we were saying earlier, we're all earthlings, aren't we? We're all of the same dirt.
Yeah.
And Mother Gaia is the guiding force here, in a sense. Which religious construct you want to look at? I don't know. Take your pick. Ron, you look like you got something to say.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Not really. I just I think that everyone needs to educate themselves, and there's a lot out there these days on social media platforms, and I look a lot at Live in Private, Warrior at Law, Know Your Rights, and Solution Empowerment. They're just some of the groups that I think you can get a lot of information from. I think that like before COVID, there wasn't much out there in social media, but now it's everywhere. So that there's no excuse for not understanding what's going on and not having giving you ideas of how you can push back against, these corporations, because all they use is their legalese against you, but it's not lawful, as we know. So you've got to, as the saying goes, you've got to know your rights. And once you know your rights, knowledge is power, and that's the only way you can push back. Unless you want to just bend over all the time and just take it, it's up to you. But the information's out there. If you really want to know, it's just got to look for it. That's what I want to say.
Sorry, mate. I wasn't laughing at you. I just have to laugh at this comment because I suppose the Mardi Gras, they're neon Nazis. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Well done. Well done.
Neon Nazis. Right.
Neon Nazis. It's a new term for the left. The neon Nazis. Gold. Absolute gold. Thank you very much for that comic genius there. Also want to acknowledge how silly can you get for the Paul Hogan in Crocodile Dundee did just say we are fleas on a dog. And we better get our shit together because this conversations I've had with our wonderful Indigenous tribes that have been good enough to accept us in have basically said we better be careful they don't get the flea rinse out, because if Mother Earth has decided she's had enough of the fleas, we're in trouble. The fleas can live on the dog's back as long as they don't bite too much. They start causing infections and digging too many holes, problems emerge. So it's in the best interest of everybody living on this dog's back to stop being a pest. So I seem to have left everyone speechless at that.
I was going to say a little bit more on the fluoride. I haven't finished.
Go for it.
The last thing, not the last, the second last thing actually that happened with the fluoride was a gentleman in the community actually started up a petition. And that was an online petition, plus there was a hard copy of it. And that was presented to the council through the normal process that it goes through. And then he tried to actually get he did the application through the official channels in the council to actually do a deputation at the council meeting before they did the vote for the council. And they denied his request to be able to speak there. So he could not even respond to any of the councillors' comments, and there were 4 that made comments that could have been quite easily challenged, and they were the grounds that they chose to vote against it. So there was no one in there that could debunk any of it, and so they just made a choice to say no, even though it's an official channel. He did the application, no grounds really. It was just waffle the reasons why they said no, not even allow him to be in there.
And again, that in itself is a breach of the law, because you have the right to put response.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
See, that's the trouble with us here in Townsville, because I know the likes of, say, Cairns, Cooktown, they just turned over the fluoride in theirs between.
Well, they had the numbers.
They did. They had at least some councillors on side in the chamber themselves, where we have 10 that sit there with not one chance of them listening to anything we say.
I think
at the really hard. Yeah, we can't
beginning. obviously, you know, Troy is there to listen to the people. He's here listening to the people right now. We've seen that, and he's been, you know, throwing his two bob in, and I appreciate that, and we'll continue to support him for that reason. Christian Price, he made use of this network and the group and got himself elected, and then turned his back as quickly as he could, because he's seen that there was going to be, life was going to be a bit hard for him. So the price of his soul seemed to be rather cheap. The price was right for Christian Price, which is very sad. There are a couple of other independents, such as Brody, you know, and Brady, who might have gone the right way if insane amounts of pressure weren't put on him, and people like Christian didn't bend the knee so fucking quickly. Things could have been very different if there was a bit of confidence and a little bit of testicular fortitude, for lack of a better term. You know, Troy was the only one who had the testicular fortitude. Christian bent the knee very quickly, and unfortunately the others followed. Because I think things would have been very differently, worked out very different, if a little bit of testicular fortitude was applied. And that is sad. That is sad. You know, but obviously it shows just how quickly things could have gone south. And we know, for those of us who have inside information and things from the previous Jenny Hill reign of terror, I think is the best way to describe it, that we had two councillors previously who were very good at standing against the system. But because they were outvoted by the weak, bend the knee kind of councillors, those two councillors were pretty much pushed out and sent into a form of insanity, in a sense. Poor people. Coercive control. Thank you, Troy. Very exactly the right term. You know, school bully mentality too would be another way of looking at it. Coercive control, obviously, for those of us who have a dictionary and you know, an extensive vocabulary. But for those who don't, school bully. You know, the handful of nerdy kids getting picked on by the cool kids, so to speak. You know, in this case, a whole bunch of bullies with a lot of money and a media force to make everyone painful. But look, when you don't fear that, it has no effect.
Well, I mean,
other than the frustration of not being able to have even a debate with the council, not even to bring it up as, you know, an open discussion in the chamber. It's not the fear, it's the frustration and the annoyance of it.
Again,
we can't get past there.
We don't have to let that become the emotional response, though. We don't have to succumb.
Oh, I like to be a bit annoyed with it. I'm not gonna.
Well, if that's the motivation required, then so be it.
Yeah, kinda.
I mean, isn't coercive control a new legislation that the state government has brought into fact? You know, that's the thing. I mean, they should be looking at their own legislation as to what they're doing. I mean, because these guys are actually using it themselves. So, I mean,
Again,
7 to 14
mirror magic.
7 to 14 years jail. You know, coercive control, and they're actually doing it themselves.
So when 99% of Australia turn around to the 1% ruling force and go, well, okay, these are your laws. You've been coercive control. Off you go. Jail cell for you.
Yep.
Mirror magic.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. So they're providing us the solution.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only way
need to get together to enforce the solutions that they have given us.
I think the only way to deal with the council, to be perfectly honest, and if you know, I'm going to say it, but it has to be done directly, person to person. You know, I shouldn't say the word person, but hang on, from one man or woman to another councillor. These guys have got to be served. They have to be served. They have to be given the choice. Hey, you guys stand for the men and women of this country, or else this is what's going to happen. Maybe a couple of them need to lose some houses or something through the courts, even though our courts are corrupt anyway. But the thing is the threat, put the threat back on them. They need to have the threat put back on them through the same statute, law, legislation that these guys are currently whacking on us. Same thing.
But we can work through it, even though there is corruption within the courts. People are still fighting. And actually, there's one thing I seen in a podcast today, which I found was really inspiring, is that we're moving towards September 11th. And for those of us in there, we're all conspiracy cookers, know all about what that really means. One of the greatest hoaxes ever put upon the human race. And more and more every day it gets more and more obvious that the 9/11 was an inside job. But for 24 years, it's the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 hoax that has been bestowed upon the people. Exactly what happened and how it went down, we're still yet to know. Hopefully one day we'll get the real truth of these things. But the fact that for 24 years, people have continued to fight to get that truth, to stand for those lives lost and the damage done and the lies and the consequences of those lies, of that false flag movement in order to create war, to have man turn against his fellow man only so that a handful can profit from it. That is a testament to the kind of things that we should be that's how we should mark ourselves. We should be there going, right, 24 years I fought this shit. Yeah. That's a testament to dedication, the desire to fight for freedom, the desire to fight for what you want. I mean, how many people out there watching and listening right now are Christians? And how many of you thought, you know what, fuck, I don't want to be Jesus. I don't want to be nailed to that cross. What are your convictions like? How much do you really care about that story? How much do you want to be like Jesus? How far are you willing to go for what you believe in? What does it mean to you? It's a lot of amazing things. I mean, so many people think there and think about, just Jesus, just one man. That was it. That's it. Done. We're going to wait for him to come back. Really?
Well, I mean, every single thing.
I thought the whole idea, but this might be me, and kick me in the dick and tell me shut up, go for it. But I thought the whole moral of that story was we should be more like that. I don't know.
I mean, you follow through, right? Follow through, and I'm going to throw that word out there that a lot of people are probably going to get the hairs on the backs of their necks up. Port Arthur. What happened with Port Arthur?
Thinking the same.
Why was Port Arthur? I mean,
and people still fighting for truth there too.
Well, I was lucky enough to speak with people that were actually there. I won't mention any names, one of which is no longer here with us. But I mean, I was told to shut up in the 2016 elections when I was running with One Nation. Don't mention that. Don't mention that at all. You can't use that. You can't use that as as anything in any of your speeches. Shut up. And the thing is there's a lot of questions there to be asked. But if people start asking the questions, and that as to what actually really did happen there, I mean, the whole thing was to disarm, to take our rifles and our pistols off us. And you look at now, you have a look now. Have a look at what's happening in Melbourne, where you get all these immigrants that have come in with machetes and all that sort of thing. Why is the reason in that? What's the reason? Digital.
At the end of the day, they'll chisel the bricks out of a house to kill someone if they really want. At the end of the day,
that's right.
I mean, as Rambo said, Rambo 2, they go, oh, we've got all the most sophisticated weapons in the world here. Oh, it's wonderful. I thought the most sophisticated weapon was the mind.
Yep.
Mind is a terrible thing to taste, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter what you've got. If you want to kill, you will find a way.
Oh,
holy shit, we better remove everybody's thumbs. Somebody rammed them into somebody's throat the other day. I mean,
the spoons. A spoon could do a lot to your eyes.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, I remember, was it Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? I believe Prince John wanted to cut out Robin Hood's heart with a spoon because it would hurt more.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the thing. That's what it's all about. The government are throwing all these things in front of us all. It's fear once again to be able to push people into the situation. Well, we have to identify people. We've got to identify people and that sort of thing. Let's push everyone into digital ID. And this is the thing, like, I mean, they want to try and push the ordinary man that doesn't know into digital ID. If we can identify you, well, we can tell whether you're a criminal or not, or whatever,
Or
and
an illegal
this is another.
immigrant they're talking about.
Yep.
They're saying
This is another
the
thing.
ideal would be that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, majority of these guys, and I think you can't identify majority of them anyway because they haven't been in Australia for long enough anyway. So there's only one group that would know who they were, and that's the government.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
But anyway, I rest my case with that one.
While we're on the humorous concept of methods of, killing people and things that we should perhaps ban, I'd just like to acknowledge Zach here for pointing out that John Wick once killed 3 men with a pencil. Look out! Ban all pencils. We can solve a lot of problems because the pen is mightier than the sword. That's it. No more writing. Problem solved. No more. No more wars. We got rid of all. What's the word I'm looking for? Not literacy. Yeah. All written communication. Nobody can be enslaved anymore. You don't have to write your name down. You don't have to sign anything. That's an interesting concept. No pens, no paper, no writing. Wouldn't that stuff their system? No pens, no paper, no writing.
No history books, no anything. Yeah, everything online.
But amazing. Well, get rid of the online. How many indigenous cultures, thousands of years scattered all around the planet, managed to maintain stories without pens and paper and books and rules and regulations and accordingly. They just happen to tell stories and hand them down, and knowledge somehow survived. Isn't that an interesting concept for all the white supremacists out there?
Well, there's another question to ask as well, is that last week there was a whole heap of dumpsters that were full of all the law books from out of our courts. The reason why they were dumped in these containers was because they had mildew on them. Wonder why they were really dumped. A lot of questions to be asked there. So majority of those books look pretty clean to me. So
yeah, you got to wonder.
What are they getting rid of history? What are they doing?
It's strikingly familiar to a Hitler book burning.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I had to explain to my daughter the other day. We were watching Indiana Jones, and she's like, "What are they doing? They're burning information. They're burning knowledge."
Yep. Right.
Why is the girl crying? Because she doesn't want to see knowledge and information die.
Yep. Yeah. Interesting.
Simple things that you find yourself explaining to children that we have to sadly explain to adults.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the main thing is be able to explain to them and to protect them. That's the main thing. We've all lived 3/4 of our lives, but I mean, these kids have got to live the rest of their lives. So,
sorry, I
able
just
to
seen
protect them.
this comment. We need machete bins now. We need pencil boxes. I love my audience. Beautiful people. Wonderful, wonderful people. So creative thoughts.
Well,
because at the end of the day, we need this laughter.
We'd get the council to be able to build the bins, but they wouldn't be able to afford it.
Especially not if Dictator Dan had anything to do with the pricing scheme, which I believe is one of the problems down south.
Yeah, it's unreal, isn't it? Oh,
yeah. It's not corruption. It just looks like it.
Smells like it too.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've punched out a good 2 hours here. Any final words? I mean, obviously, I think I want to hammer home Sunday, stand in the park, I think is a great way to revitalize let's get shit going here in Townsville. Let's start meeting and just talking in a casual environment and get things back together. We've all had a bit of a holiday for various reasons. It's time to get motivated, I think. Who's next?
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I've just got to acknowledge, that all the people that go down there, they're not there to sell you anything. They're not there to convince you about anything. They're going to just tell you as it is. So it's, as my dad used to always say to me, costs you nothing to listen. That's
Mm.
it. So,
We
I
can
mean,
learn a lot.
what you walk away with is up to yourself. But there are a lot of people out there still that are not informed, that need to learn. They're starting to come out of the woodwork. I've noticed that a few people that I know of have asked me different questions, as to, like asking different questions about what's going on. Everyone knows there's something going on. They all know there's something going on, but they don't know exactly what it is. So, I mean, it's just being able to go down there, ask the questions, like, I mean, as I said before, if it's a stupid question, it doesn't matter. No one's going to tell you it's a stupid question. They're going to answer your question if they can. So,
We all know what we know. You don't know what you don't know. And you're never going to know unless you go.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, costs you nothing to listen.
Dare to be stupid, but dare to be different. Dare to be stupid is a great song by Weird Al Yankovic, by the way. Bloody brilliant. First heard while watching the Transformers movie when I think it was 6 years old, 1986, I think it was. 80. I know, 80 something or other. Transformers the movie, brilliant. The original cartoon one. Dare to be stupid, Weird Al Yankovic. Highly recommend it.
Geez, that was a long time ago, huh? Bloody
Yeah,
hell.
I know. I'm showing my age a bit.
Yeah. Oh.
Need to get some young
Anyway.
whippersnappers in here.
Well, they were just in here before. I got educated before, thanks to that.
Oh yes, and the lovely artwork.
Yeah, you got a new fish, and it's gold. There you go.
Yep, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
It's a goldfish. But the funny thing is, it's a yellow fish, which is closer to the color of gold than the goldfish, which is an amazing observation pointed out by a 4-year-old. Cannot beat that because she's so right.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Well, it was a pleasure to be on here. Thank you very much,
mate. Thank you for being here. Ron, what do you got to say, my friend?
As I said before, just everyone should be questioning everything and pushing back wherever they get the chance. Too many people just give in straight away and pay their fines and pay their whatever the council taxes, and they should be questioning everything. And we need more people doing it. As Peter said earlier, we'll clog up the court system, and that's what we need to do. Exactly. Unless we do that, they'll just keep pushing harder and harder. So,
make them earn that buck.
Exactly. They've had it too easy for too long, and now we're awake to what they're up to. It's time to push back.
I always thought the easiest way to look at it is like, okay, so g'day, mate. I'm going to send you a letter in the mail demanding $200.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to give me $200 because I sent you a letter in the mail?
No.
Why not? I sent you a letter in the mail. I had a whole bunch of veiled threats and, do this or do that. I'll send you another letter in 28 days if you don't respond.
Yep.
That's the thing. There's no contract.
Think about
no contract given.
That's
exactly.
Yep. So that's the
bullying.
thing. Ask them for the contract. Say, where's the contract? Show me the contract. Anyway, I'll leave it on that note.
Jeanie, final words.
My place, Townsville, still has monthly meetings. So you've got the stand in the park every week. And there's also the monthly meetings with my place. So that's just usually quite a small group at the moment, but a good way to just talk about what's happening in your community and talk about letters you received and, plan events and things like that. So the next one is next Thursday. So that'll be the 11th. And we've got a new venue there. It's the Carville Seniors Centre. I haven't got the address, but it's actually somewhere along Diprose Street, somewhere there. I'm not sure what suburb that is yet. I've lost the address. But
You'll
if you
put it
want
up
to
on
know
my
Stay tuned.
information,
I'll post that on all the socials
yeah,
here
and
available.
just put out my place email address if you want up as well, which is my place
Yep.
Townsville1 at protonmail.com, and we'll answer those as well.
One
So if
more
you
time
want
for me,
to-
please. So my place.
My place Townsville1, the number 1. Let me just make sure I got it right. Yep, at protonmail.com.
So reach out there.
That's
My place, Townsville1 at protonmail.com.
Yep.
If
And that can be
you're a
for anything.
Townsvillian
Questions.
keen to get your hat on and start, taking a more active role in your own freedom.
And that just could be a general inquiry, not necessarily about the meeting. It could be about fluoride. It could be about, any inquiry. Just send it through and someone will reply to that one. And our meetings are the second Thursday of each month. They're 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. start to 7:30.
Awesome. And of course, if you want to ask questions about anything, NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com, ladies and gentlemen. Anything that's been discussed here you're not sure about, please feel free to reach out. Hey, maybe you've got a really awesome idea and you want to get that idea out to the general public. Well, you know where to go. You hit that email up and I will do my best to help you in any way, shape or form. And of course, don't forget 10 a.m. stand in the parks at Strand Park, closest to the police beat barbecue.
That's it. Yep.
Western End, was it?
That's right. Yep.
Yep.
Every day, which is where a lot of these great ideas already started. I mean, look at where we are now. Look at all the things that are happening, the hundreds of people watching, the thousands of people that will have seen this within the next day or two, all because I turned up at one of them stand at the parks. What could happen if you do that, ladies and gentlemen? What could happen if you do that? Don't ask, what do we do? Ask, what can I do? That's the way forward. Stop the victim mentality. Stop the I need someone to validate me.
That's it.
Who cares? Do what you feel is right. Feel that within yourself.
Follow that gut.
Exactly. It's written everywhere. Anywhere you look.
A lot more people getting their strength. There's a lot more people. They're all working it out. They're all understanding. So
they are seeing it. Yep.
A lot more. Yep.
Hey, I see you're big now, Ron.
Yep.
Better picture.
Thought I'd give it a try.
You're sideways again now.
We'll figure it out. Next time we'll get Ron's camera to work properly. There's something there. So it'd be some silly little setting somewhere. We'll figure it out, mate. We'll figure it out. But look, thank you all very much for coming on and showing Townsville that there is some wonderful minds out there working hard and have been working for a long time. Very much appreciated.
Thanks,
Mark. Thanks for having us on, mate.
Yep. Thanks
much
again.
Appreciate it. Thanks for all the work you do.
Mate, anytime. It's my pleasure. For Peter, for Ron, for Jeanie, and everybody else out there. This is your network. It's not mine. I'm just here. I just facilitate the network. I'm just a guy with a camera, computers, and a little bit of knowledge and, a couple of drinks. So anytime you want to come on and have a drink with me, let's make sure your information passes the pub test. Because you remember those days you just go down to the pub and have a yarn, and if it was a dumb idea or a good idea, it doesn't matter how pissed you were. Your mates let you know, man, you probably shouldn't do that. Or they go, no, actually, that's really funny. We should do that. It doesn't always work out. But at the end of the day, did it pass the pub test? That's what the North Queensland Freedom Network is. This is the fucking pub test, ladies and gentlemen. Good or bad, we're going to figure out whether it works or not. So thank you all for coming on, and thank you all you viewers out there for watching. One last sip, ladies and gentlemen. It's the taste of freedom. That is the taste of freedom. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, guests, viewers, viewers who I consider potential guests. Rock on.